Okay, once again, we're going down to Hart Perry for the beginning of the race. This will be the women's lightweight 4+, and in lane 1, there will be no team in lane 1. In lane 2 will be Villanova University. In lane 3, Western Washington University. In lane 4, the University of Kansas. In lane 5, Fordham University. And in lane 6, Radcliffe. Okay, and Hart.
Now into the race, about 350 meters. It's been a tight battle ever since they left the start. The two crews, Fordham and Radcliffe, are neck and neck. Fordham with maybe a 2 or 3 feet lead as they come into the 500-meter mark. Fordham right there with Radcliffe. That's a real battle, and then we've got another battle going on in the middle of the course with Villanova taking 3rd place. Western Washington back a bit. And Kansas, but they're all overlapping. The real fight is for 1st place as we come up through this first 500 meters. Fordham from New York leads by 1 seat. Both crews matching strokes. 35.5. Fordham now seems to be making a slight move on Radcliffe. Villanova still battling and taking a command of 3rd place. We're coming up through the 500, and now we are working towards the 1,000-meter mark. Fordham looks long and strong, answering everything Radcliffe throws at them. Here they come again with a burst at 36. Radcliffe has made a dent in it. The boats are within half a seat of one another. Kansas and Villanova are now battling for the 3rd spot. Western Washington has dropped back, but 1st place is still too close to call. Very, very strong. Both crews with coxswains lying in the bow. As they come up towards the 1,000-meter mark, it would be Fordham by 2 seats. No more than that. Here comes Radcliffe making a move right now as they come into the 1,000-meter mark. It is still Fordham by a deck length. Both crews stroke for stroke at 35.5. Beautiful rowing by all these athletes out here. Villanova still holding on to 3rd place, Kansas in 4th, and Western Washington trailing. But the race for 1st place is a real scorcher. Fordham has now made yet another move and has pulled out to half a length lead over Radcliffe. Holding the water very, very well as they come up this course. It's a great race for 3rd place also. Villanova holding on doggedly to a lead. They're at 36.5. And Kansas is right there with them. Maybe a little shorter in the water, but still there with them. Fordham ever so lightly pulling away. It's up to 3/4 of a length as they come up and will be in view fairly soon. 3/4 of a length in a magnificently rowed race. Fordham is going away from them. The pressure is showing a bit on Radcliffe as they appear to be shortening up a bit. Fordham is maintaining a nice, long, strong 35.5. Nothing different for ratings. Here's Villanova now pulling away from Kansas a little bit. And we'll get ready to turn it over to the finish. Over to the finish.
Thank you very much, Hart. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, Fordham seems to be pulling away a little bit here on Radcliffe. Angus, how do they look to you? Do they look?
They're just letting the boat run that little bit more. They're just getting that extra few inches in each stroke, and they're just drawing away as they have done since 500 meters. About 36 strokes a minute. But Radcliffe haven't given up on them. They're still plugging in there, and Fordham holding on to about a 3/4 length lead now.
And the battle for The battle for third still seems to be between Villanova and the University of Kansas. And although we can't actually see from this position, it looks as though they're still...
They're neck and neck. There's perhaps Kansas have just got a slight edge on Villanova. No, I don't know. It's very, very, very close.
Too close to call from here. Once again, the battle here for first and second, though, is still on. It looks as though Fordham still has about a seat or two lead here, although it is tightening up.
Well, they've got. I think they've got this one pretty well in hand now. They're 3/4 of a length plus up. You've got to get the angle here, Ken. It's if you look at the boys as they run across there, they've got a lead. Radcliffe putting it up now to 37.5, but Fordham, I think, have got this one in hand.
They certainly look strong in the finish. The battle for third is still raging between Villanova and the University of Kansas.
And Villanova now through them. Villanova now nearly a length in the lead.
And as they come toward the finish, Fordham and Radcliffe are still pulling. It looks as though Fordham has just about 3/4 of a length lead. They go for the final push. And Angus, it looks to me that unofficially Fordham has won this race, with Radcliffe finishing second. Once again, this is unofficial.
And Villanova coming in. They've now got Clearwater, and Clearwater again to Western Washington.
I believe that's the University of Kansas finishing in fourth position there, with Western Washington closing. What an exciting race that was. It was close right down to the wire. Less than 3/4 of a length separating the first and second place finishers. And for those of you who would like the unofficial results, it is Fordham #1, Radcliffe #2. It looks like Villanova finished in third, the University of Kansas fourth, and Western Washington was a close fifth in that race. But once again, ladies and gentlemen, these results are unofficial. Folks, we're going to go now down onto the award dock with Ginger Haskell presenting the awards to the Fordham team, who won our previous race. And once again, they won that race in 7:04.79. This was the women's lightweight 4 with Coxon. Ginger?
Thank you. Joining his winning crew on the platform is their coach, Mr. Ted Bignano. Congratulations to Fordham.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, these are the lane assignments for our next race, which will be the men's varsity 4 with Coxon. This will be for the Davenport Cup, and in lane 2 will be the University of San Diego. In lane 3, Harvard. In lane 4, the University of Texas at Austin. I know that school very well. And in lane 5, Northeastern. Once again, this will be the men's varsity 4 with Coxon. This will be the Davenport Cup, and we're now going to go down to Hart Perry for the start of the race.
Okay, we're on the starting line for the 4 with Coxon, the Davenport Cup. The crews have been polled. They're getting final alignment. Harvard in the near lane. I'm sorry, as you were. San Diego in the near lane. Harvard, Texas, and Northeastern. We have a start. The boats are away cleanly, neck and neck. Nobody seems to have gotten that much of a jump on the start. San Diego off high, a slight lead on Harvard. Northeastern, maybe, if anybody has gotten it, Northeastern out by a couple of seats. San Diego right behind them, but the close overlap with all the crews. Right now, Harvard trails, but it's not more by nothing more than a deck length. Northeastern has taken a lead. Still up at 39.5. Northeastern, a half-length lead on the field. The other 3 boats are glued right together. San Diego seems to have dropped back a bit, and Harvard has made up the early deficit, rowing at 36.5. University of Texas is right there. Northeastern with almost a length lead as we come up on the 500-meter mark. Now San Diego is paying a little bit for that early sprint they made. Harvard has taken over second place, but no more than a seat. Northeastern, on the other hand, seems to be taking control of the race, a length up on Harvard. Harvard maybe half a length up on Texas. Now San Diego has come back and pushed it up to about 37 as they come through this first set of markers. It's Northeastern rowing at 37.5, leading by 1 length over Harvard, rowing at 36.5. San Diego in third place. Now they've settled down to 36.5, and Texas is falling back slightly. Northeastern and Harvard, though, are staying right as they were. 1 length separates them. We're 7:50 into the race. And it would look like the two crews from the Charles River are going to be fighting it out for the gold medal. Harvard has now made a move and coming up slightly on Northeastern. Harvard at 35.5, Northeastern at 36. Northeastern still leading by 1 boat length. Harvard now has, Northeastern has now answered Harvard. We're coming up on the 1,000-meter mark. Northeastern in the lead at 36.5. Northeastern by half a length over Harvard now. Here comes Harvard making a push. Will they answer them? Will they answer them? Still in third place is San Diego, but Texas giving them a good run for that position. As our angle changes here a little bit, Northeastern still in the lead. Harvard still pushing them all the way down. Okay, we're going to throw this now to the finish line.
Once again, we're watching this race develop with Northeastern still in the lead, seemingly. Angus, they still look like they're pulling quite strongly.
Well, they've got half a length lead. It's 4 guys out of the heavyweight varsity crew, and they're rowing very well indeed. They took an early lead, stretched out to about a length, and then settled, and Harvard came back to them. But they're still sitting on about a half-length lead there. 37 strokes to the minute, Harvard at 36.
The battle for third position still seems to be fairly close also.
Yes, San Diego is still leading University of Texas at Austin. That's the one you know something about, I think.
Yes, I know Austin fairly well, actually.
Well, don't shout too loud at them. You're not allowed to coach from the bank.
Once again, the team from Northeastern still seems to be pulling quite strongly.
Yes, they're drawing away now. They got their weight on their feet. The boat's running well, and they're beautifully together.
Although it doesn't look like there's any give to the Harvard team, they still seem to be battling out as we come on the 1,500-meter mark here.
And we've now got a clear third position there. Texas now, University of Texas at Austin is certainly third, but Northeastern now nearly a length up on Harvard as they come up towards the beach here. Northeastern at 36, Harvard also at 36, and Northeastern rowing very well together, getting right into the water behind the pin there, driving the boat through the water, and Harvard not giving up, but Northeastern look as though they've got this one to win the first time this event has been held for the Horace Davenport Cup.
Once again, this seems to be a fairly close finish here, with Northeastern looking very strong towards the finish line here, although Harvard not giving an inch, still pulling strong, although I don't believe they're going to be able to catch the team from Northeastern. And our third place finisher here looks like it's going to be the University of Texas, with San Diego finishing in fourth. And once again, ladies and gentlemen, the unofficial results: Northeastern number 1, Harvard number 2, the University of Texas at Austin number 3, and San Diego coming in at number 4. Once again, those results are unofficial. And we'll have a time for you for that race as soon as we can get it. Angus, this should be the University of Texas here coming up to the awards platform.
That's right. And they'll be going all the way home south with some bronze medals to show their folks at home.
And well deserved. Actually, Angus, my love of the area around.
With Coxon. Presenting the medals will be Barb Harding, representing Wellington Orthopedic and Sports Medicine. You need to come up here on the dock, please, on the awards platform. And our medals are for the University of Texas at Austin, the third place crew.
This is the one they want me to go down for the first prize, isn't it? You know, they want me to say something. They want me to say something about Horace Davenport.
Thank you.
Well, that's what Hart.
Congratulations to the University of Texas at Austin.
This is Harvard University coming up to the platform to receive the second place awards. And second place not by not very much.
No, but
I can't shake your hand the way you're at. Wonderful race. Congratulations.
The Northeastern crew is coached by Buzz Congram, who's here on the stand with them. The crew members include Patrick Mathias, Michael Roy, Jeremy Janilla, it is Janilla, John Norling, and Walt Mullen. The Northeastern crew, they are not only the winners of this race, they are the first winners of a new trophy, the Horace Davenport Trophy. And here to tell you a bit about Horace Davenport and this trophy is Angus Robertson, a trustee of this event and a member of the, what committee? Committee of Management, thank you, of the Henley Regatta. Mr. Robertson.
congratulations to you, first of all. Sorry, Ginger's a little bit shorter than I am. I would like just, if you would please, to listen to me, because I would like to pay my tribute to Horace Davenport, or Davy as he was known, throughout the US rowing world. Davy rowed for Columbia in the late 20s and very nearly rowed in the Olympic Games in 1928. He was an outstanding oarsman, an outstanding businessman, and a truly outstanding benefactor of US rowing. All of us who met Davy worshipped and admired him. He was a very, very kind man. And I can think of no better way of remembering Horace Davenport than him to have a trophy named after him. The trophy you can see behind me, and his son Peter is here to present that trophy.
Thank you, Angus, and I'm delighted to be here. It's my first time here, and it's a wonderful event, and I'm proud to award this trophy to Buzz Condrum, the first recipient of the 4-width trophy. Buzz?
And the lane assignments, as you can see them there, are William and Mary will be in lane 1. William Smith will be in lane 2. The University of Cincinnati will be in lane 3. The University of Wisconsin in lane 4. Brown in lane 5. And Washington State will be in lane 6. We have had one scratch from this race. UCLA was originally scheduled to be in this race in lane 3, but had to scratch from this race, and I understand it had something to do with conflicting schedule with exams. We've got a race going down here. We've started with the women's varsity 4-width for the Robinson Cup, and we're going to throw this down to Hart Perry, who's calling the race.
Sorry. We're 200 meters into the race, and Brown has taken a lead. William Smith sticking right there with him, a half a length down. Excuse me. There's been a change in this now as they come up to 500 meters. Cincinnati is taking a lead with William Smith and Brown fighting for second. Sure that is. Coming up at 500 meters gone. The crew in lane 3 is leading, followed by William Smith in lane 2, followed by Brown in lane 4, followed by William and Mary. Wisconsin is dropped back open water behind the crew in lane 3, which appears to be Washington State. The battle for second place is between William Smith and Brown. Lane 3 still leading as we approach 750 gone. William Smith battling Brown for second place. Lane 3, Cincinnati still holding on to about a half a boat lead over William Smith and Brown, who are dead level. All crews rowing at 35 strokes to the minute. Lane 3 moving away slightly, but Brown and lane 2, William Smith, are dead even for second place. The rest of the field has fallen back a bit. Lane 3 still holding on to a lead. Now William Smith has moved out on Brown over to the finish line.
Okay, we're watching the boats come toward the finish line, and we have somewhat of a surprise leader at this point in the race. I don't think anybody, Angus, expected the University of Cincinnati to be leading this race at this point.
Well, let's hope they can, for the local people, they can hold on. It might have cost them dear. They've gone out very, very hard at the start, but they're still just in the lead. William Smith in second and Brown in third.
It looks as though the University of Cincinnati is still holding on to a small lead. William Smith running second. Brown University is in third position. This would be quite a feat for the University of Cincinnati to pull off a victory here against Brown and the strong team from William Smith. Once again, this is the women's varsity 4 with Coxon for the Barbie Robinson Kindervelt Cup, which is a new trophy this year. And it looks as though the University of Cincinnati in lane 3 is still holding on to a slight lead. Angus, how do they look coming up on the 1,500-meter mark?
They're still in there. They're about 35 strokes to the minute, 36 strokes to the minute. But William Smith College and Brown are not going to let them get away. It's really quite a close thing for in this race now. This is the first really close race we've had for all 3 places.
And I think all 3 places are still quite up in the air, although the team from the University of Cincinnati in lane 3 still seems to be pulling quite hard.
Yes, they are about 3/4 of a length clear now, maybe half a length. It looks as though Brown are now putting their rate of striking up. They're up to 37.
William Smith College now seems to be making a move here on Cincinnati.
Well, they're up to 36.5. Cincinnati holding on. I think they're going to do it.
It's going to be quite an exciting finish, folks. If you're not down on the beach to watch this one, you're going to be disappointed that you missed it. Once again, this is between the University of Cincinnati and lane 3.
And here come Brown. Brown pushing hard now.
Brown in lane 6 is closing. William Smith is in lane 2. It looks as though Brown may have been able to overtake. No, actually, the University of Cincinnati still is holding on. This one's coming right down to the wire, but I believe the University of Cincinnati is going to pull this out. And unofficially, they seem to have done that, with Brown University finishing second, William Smith finishing third. Wisconsin coming in fourth. Washington comes in fifth, just right behind Wisconsin. And in sixth position, it looks like William and Mary College. Quite a finish for this race.
That was a super race. That was a super race. They really they took the lead at the start, and they weren't going to give that lead up. They really stuck to their guns and really rode very, very well indeed.
Do you think anybody here associated with this event expected the University of Cincinnati to be that strong in that race?
I think they expected to be strong. I think they'll be even more delighted they won.
Quite an exciting finish. This brought everybody down to the beach. And once again, this was for the Barbie Robinson Kindervelt Cup.
William Smith College women's varsity 4 crew, coached by James Joy. The members of this crew are Michelle Combs, Silky Bruner, Kristen Murmigan. I'm going to mess this up. Somebody's handwriting is bad. Jill Woodruff and Carrie Villagran. Here comes the Brown Varsity Women's 4 crew.
quite a good idea.
This is the Brown University Women's Varsity 4 crew. They are coached by John Murphy, if I get the names right, Heather Field, Jen Dowling, Jen Lees, Kate McCleary, and Paula Kling. Here they come, the University of Cincinnati Women's 4 to the awards platform. Presenting the first place awards is Bill Engelman, a founder of this event, a trustee, and a partner at Taft, Titinius, and Hollister. This crew is coached by Tim Royalty, who is also, I want you to know, responsible for most of the race course out here. The crew members are Jen Axe, Tara Light, Laura Cook, Kelly Salchow, and Katie Nolan. These women are not only the winners of the Varsity 4 with Coxswain race, they are the winners of the first ever trophy for this event, the Barbara Robinson Kindervelt Cup. Here to tell you a little bit about Barbie Robinson is Mary Shirley, a founder and trustee of this event, and a friend of Children's Hospital Medical Center by being on the board of the Cincinnati Center for Development Disorders.
Good afternoon. I know Barbie would be extremely proud of the honor that's being bestowed, and she would be extremely proud to know that the winners of this year's cup being UC. Going way back, my first meeting with Barbie was rather unique in the fact that I walked in at the very beginning stages of this event. No course, no docks, no lanes, no buildings, small tented area. And with Barbie's vision, anyone would ask her. She was the volunteer of all volunteers in the fact that she made you believe that you could get anything accomplished. Her pleasant smile, her ongoing dedication. She would ask you something or mention to you that it wouldn't be that difficult, and you just knew it wasn't going to be that difficult. And when the first event took place, I can still remember her looking across and saying, "See? We did it." The same thing was true of her years with Kindervelt. She had a way of getting people, a very unassuming way. She would always play light of her factor, but she definitely was the driving force. In this instance, a couple of years ago, I met with her and said, "Remember the very first year?" And she said, "Oh yes, I was in charge of portalettes." I said, "No, Barbie, you were actually in charge of a lot more." But that was Barbie's unassuming style, and I think it was her reason why everyone who knew her and everyone who's heard about her understands what was so really very, very special about her. And it was with great pleasure that I have the opportunity to introduce her daughter, Pam Metford, who will be presenting the Barbie Robinson Cup.
I just want to say congratulations to you all. That was a fabulous race, and thank you all for coming out. This is a very special thing.
Once again, congratulations to the University of Cincinnati, coached by Tim Royalty. Congratulations, ladies. We're now going to go down to the start of our next race, where in lane 3 will be Princeton University. Lane 4 will have the University of Washington, and Cornell will be in lane 5. Each one of these teams has won this race previously, so this will be a very exciting race. We have had in this race a false start, so we're resetting this race for you. Once again, in lane 3, Princeton. Lane 4, Washington, and in lane 5 will be Cornell. We're now going to go down to Hart Perry for the beginning of the next race. Congratulations, University of Cincinnati.
We've had quite a series of things in this particular race. It's a 3-boat race for the Dolly Callow Cup. First of all, Cornell was assessed a false start for coming to the line late. And then once the starter had pulled the crews and did the countdown start, Washington, for some reason, didn't leave on the command. So they've now brought all 3 boats back again. Cornell still has a false start. I don't know what will happen to Washington, but I think they'll be a little cautious and get off the line this time. Princeton, Washington has been warned. Washington has been warned, so you got Washington with a warning or a false start. You've got Cornell with a false start, and Princeton just backing in now. They'll get them realigned, and we'll have a start shortly. The conditions at the start right now are quite favorable, although there's a slight quartering wind off the port side. It has not affected the surface of the water any, but it's a little tough to get the crews lined up. This is quite a race in that you have the Western champion Washington crew in the middle lane, the runner-up in the women's sprints in the East in Cornell, and then Princeton, who has had an incredible year with all their crews. So this will be a true test of national championship level. We're again waiting for Princeton to get back on the line. Washington is lining up. Princeton's backing in now. There are some very, very good-looking oarswomen in these boats in terms of their style, and just good-looking gals to go with it. The Princeton crew is size-wise is not the biggest of the 3 by any means, but they certainly have rowed the boat quickly all spring. As I'm sure has been pointed out, all crews are now rowing with the hatchet blades. We're getting alignment now, and then there will be a countdown, and we'll have a start. The starter is asking the crews to point their bows beyond the straight line just slightly, so when they get blown back, they can be on line to start. There will not be a polling this time, merely a countdown and the start. Hands are down. 4, 3, 2, 1. They're off. Princeton rowing smartly off the line at about 48.5. Taking a slight lead, but Washington is right there with them. Cornell, again, isn't giving in on anything. Washington is a little lower, and Washington now is making a move. Early going, they have moved out on Princeton by maybe a seat. Coming up to the first 250 meters, Washington has definitely taken a lead of 3 seats. Washington at 39, Princeton at 38.5. Cornell at 38.5. Washington by 3 seats over Princeton. Cornell right there with Princeton. Cornell is edged ahead of Princeton by maybe a foot. Washington looks very long and strong as they come through the first 500 meters. They have definitely made a move and are moving away slightly on every stroke. Now Princeton is answering this. Cornell, however, staying right there with Princeton. It is Washington by 3/4 of a length at 37.5. Moving nicely now on the field. They're taking maybe a half a seat on every stroke. They've got almost 3/4 of a length on Cornell and about the same on Princeton. The crews have now passed the 500-meter mark. Washington is still at 37.5, trying to stretch that out to 1 full length, and it looks like they're being successful doing it. They indeed have the coxswain is on the bow ball of both Princeton and Cornell. Washington looks very, very long. Princeton in their usual just gutsy style of rowing, hanging right there, although Washington seems to be inching out on. Cornell is right there with them. Washington's still going for that full-length lead. They don't have it quite yet. They do on Cornell, but they don't on Princeton. Princeton's staying right there. Princeton is going to have a tremendous sprint to close this gap, and Washington doesn't look at all ready to give it to them. Long in the water, very quick into the water together. The legs are down fast. Nice work around the turn as they come up to the 1,000-meter mark. It is Washington by 3/4 of a length. Princeton seems to have stopped their move for a bit. Cornell has dropped off by maybe half a length. So right now it is Washington, Princeton, Cornell in one heck of a race. Here comes Princeton trying to make a move on Washington, and they are moving slightly, ever so slightly. Coming up to where we're going to come into view. Yes, Princeton indeed has come back on them. But Washington is still strong and long in the water. Will they be able to dig in and hold them off? Washington still at 37, Princeton at 36.5, Cornell dropping back a bit at 36. Here comes Princeton. Now Washington is making an answer with a power 10. The legs are down now. Down now. And we're about to turn it over to you at the finish. This is an exciting one. Over to the finish.
Thank you, Hart. We're going to pick it up from here. Once again, we've got the University of Washington in first place. They still look long. Princeton is in second, and Cornell is in third place right behind them, as near as we can tell, although Cornell was making a move there. Angus?
That's right, but Princeton made that push. They pushed very, very hard, but they came back, but it's cost them dear. It's cost them dear. Washington now pulling away again. Cornell haven't given up. That's going to be a tight race for second. But Washington, as Hart was saying, long and strong. They've got this race. They're not going to give it up easily.
Looks like we can see a little water in between Washington and Princeton.
Yes, as I say, that burn through 1,000 and 1,500 meters, I think that cost Princeton dear. Washington now still keeping it long, still pushing those legs down, pushing it away, pushing there, letting the boat run. And now they've got Princeton in their sights. They've got Cornell in their sights as they come up towards the beach.
This is going to be an exciting finish to this race here. This is certainly anybody's race in second place between Princeton and Cornell. However, it looks as though the University of Washington is not going to be caught, but that's not That's not the minds of the Princeton rowers.
No.
They feel that they can take them.
They're taking the rate up now. They're up to 38. They're pushing for the line. They're coming back fast now, the Princeton crew.
This could be an exciting finish to this race.
Washington holding on, but they can't get the rate up. Princeton are getting their rate up with every stroke.
Cornell not able to keep up with these two teams. The University of Washington still with a 3/4 of a boat lead. And it doesn't look like Princeton is going to be able to catch the University of Washington. And as they cross the finish line, it is, in fact, the University of Washington winning the Dolly Callow Cup, unofficially, of course. Cornell University coming in third here. That was quite a finish, Angus, quite a finish.
That was, I said that it cost Princeton dear, but they weren't going to give in, and they really got the rate up in those last 20-30 strokes, but they just couldn't get back. That Washington crew looking really good. You can see them now. They're all very, very tired girls. Well, you can just see 4 of them sitting up now. 4 are lying on their backs. They're really very, very tired.